Let's watch another CNN panel discussing some of the effects of Trump's plans being discussed for his presidency, as economist Catherine Rampell is on the panel, and she's quickly becoming one of my favorite voices to hear talk about economic politics, as she holds people's feet to the fire and has a great understanding of the subject material as well. So let's jump right in.
It's not even clear what he's asking these countries to do. I mean, he says it's about fentanyl, but no fentanyl comes over the border from Canada, you know? And even the fentanyl that does come over the border from Mexico is mostly brought over by American citizens. So it's not really clear what these countries could do to appease Trump. I really hope he is just saber rattling, because I agree, at least I think we agree, that a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods and all Mexican goods would be devastating, as would the likely retaliation, which would probably be much more surgically targeted to American businesses that would suffer, that are politically important.
Yeah. The USMCA trade agreement Trump put into place was supposed to be NAFTA 2.0 and was touted by Trump to be the greatest deal America has ever or could ever get, which was a lie and now is seemingly being admitted by Trump himself, as he's pretending he needs to strong arm the two parties included into brokering some new, better sort of deal. The problem is, what he says he's negotiating for makes no sense to attack with tariffs. Most fentanyl comes through the border from U.S. citizens, and virtually none comes through the northern border with Canada. So why tariff them? The chemicals for fentanyl come from Asian countries, so it doesn't make a lot of sense either with Mexico. According to the CBP, Mexico border encounters are down almost 75% since 2023. The biggest issue in terms of immigration is asylum seekers and visa overstays, which tariffing Mexico doesn't fix our asylum system. Tariffing Canada definitely doesn't fix our asylum system. So he's just strong-arming for show here, as they can't even address the things he says he's angry about, but they can retaliate with their own tariffs, which Mexico has already promised to do, which would again only further exacerbate the issue here, have the cost of these tariffs get passed on to the consumer and raise prices even more for everyone, while not solving any of the things he says that he's going to do them for.
Donald Trump is doing policy via Twitter. And I think that's dangerous, because you've got a guy who now has, you say, an electoral mandate, but he also has Congress and he also has the Supreme Court. So whatever he wants to do, if they back him up, he'll be able to do it. And the bottom line is that the people who lose in a trade war are the consumers. He negotiated USMCA, that agreement, which was followed NAFTA between Canada and Mexico and the United States. And that agreement exempts most products from those countries. So he says he can do it, but he made an agreement that said he couldn't do it for most of those products.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a point I've raised a few times now, but hasn't made it mainstream because, people don't actually read bills or care to learn about trade agreements signed by presidents. They're just going to defend the one that their party likes. But a lot of these products not being made in America that he now is saying that he wants to tariff Mexico or Canada for and make here in America and blah, 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 blah. They aren't tariffed because of Trump's trade deal, the USMCA, putting them on a list of exempted products, thus products that cannot be tariffed: agricultural products, dairy, poultry, textiles, digital products. So he will now have to pull us out of a second trade deal with Canada and Mexico after doing so again in his first term with NAFTA, walking back the USMCA that, again, he said was the best deal America has ever gotten, because apparently it's not good. And he wants to replace this with some arbitrary deal that he just hopes will be better because he'll do tariffs and stuff if it's not, despite Mexico, again, already promising to retaliate, Canada being well suited to just find other trade partners, and the consumer being set to be the one who pays the brunt of all of this, the working class, just like the farmers did in 2018 after Trump's tariffs, just like workers and manufacturers did in 2019 because of Trump's tariffs after the manufacturing recession. I mean, this is historical precedence is obvious, so why would we make the same mistakes?
It's national security, and it's this poison that is killing American people all over this country.
I 100% agree. The fentanyl epidemic is horrible. It's tragic. We need to do something about it.
And China's part of it as well, and they're part of it as well.
You know that there actually was bipartisan legislation intended to increase our fentanyl detection technologies at the border, and Trump killed it. That was the bipartisan border bill that Trump basically unilaterally
I know
killed.
you keep fighting these old battles.
It's
Donald
not an
Trump,
old
Donald,
you're saying
and,
it's a
and
very,
you're not over it.
no,
Donald Trump
you're
won,
saying it's a
and
current
he wants,
issue.
and
I'm
he
saying we
wants
have a
the
solution.
border secured.
That's the solution to
but
it.
he wants the
That's the solution
It's not
to
the
it.
only solution because Mexico has to do something.
They
It's
have
coming
been
up
doing
their
something.
country and right over our border.
Do you know what's-
nothing. It's a crisis. They do nothing.
Do you know what's happened to border crossings in the last year? They've gone down by about 75%.
This was the perfect response at his attempt at moral posturing. Oh, he's doing it for national security. If we cared about national security, we would have signed the conservative border bill that would have upped fentanyl technology, upped border agents, allowed the border to be unilaterally shut down, provided resources to Mexico to help catch smugglers before they cross, added more resources to the Border Patrol to help catch illegal crossings, more judges and lawyers for cases like this to be prosecuted. And this would have solved the problem without putting the working class consumers at risk of having their prices racked up rapidly because of some sort of a trade war, or this trade war pushing us into another recession. It would have erased those risks. It's not really about any of that, however. Trump just wants to do tariffs because it triggers the libs and that sells with his base. And of course, he also thinks that other countries pay them and he likes being known as tough on other countries. So it's like a 2-for-1. It has nothing to do with anything else. I can guarantee you that, because it has no possible way of affecting the things he's pretending that it will affect. I mean, think of it like this. This is the clearest way you can put it. He put major tariffs in place in 4 industries in 2018. Border crossings then doubled in 2019 and spiked again at the end of 2020. His tariffs are still in place today, yet fentanyl is still an issue. The border is still an issue the right talks about. So right there, it kind of gives the game away that these actually don't address these kinds of problems. And he's really just talking out of his ass on this one. I know, shocking. It's something he does with most things.